Alohaina, kalamaokaaina, palikuna ko olau ka papamoko hina. Um, I wanted to reflect a little bit about the intensity of today and also to really talk about a little bit about how critical it is for us to learn from the lessons and from the mistakes and from the great challenges that people have had elsewhere. And in particular, I'd like to bring, if people in Hawaii and kalamaokaaina and our struggles throughout Pacific want to learn about critical analysis about how power is utilized against our people, I think that we really need to study an amazing and incredible great mind and author named Fanon. And what he did was he was a doctor who studied the torture under the in Algeria under the French, and he really looked at how they took over and how it wasn't just a physical force. It wasn't just it wasn't just guns and arms and ammo. It was also a psychological cooptation of the local community. And I really think it's really important to put the context of cocoa palms in, because, I think it's really difficult when we see our own people attacking our own people. And for those of you who haven't seen it yet, you can take a look at my timeline. Today, the lineal descendants of an area called Wailua, who've been fighting up against the big developer named Cocoa Palms, which was actually, Elvis's former playground on Kauai. They are the lineal descendants of traditional landholders that have been fighting for years to get the Aina back, utilizing a wide variety of tactics, including aloha Aina in the courts, in social media, and just being true brothers and sisters, taking care of each other, living a Kanaka Maoli lifestyle, taking care of the community, taking care of the people. They've been there, and they also use genealogical cultural ties. They use their traditions, their prayers, their ceremonies. They work with the community. It's a very incredibly powerful movement that is currently also winning in the courts right now, because for those of you who don't know about traditional land titles, is when they did the illegal overthrow of our land here in Hawaii, they weren't able to fully erase the strength of our ali'i, the strength of our traditions, the strength of our laws. And because of that, we have a lot of land that is still incredibly under contest. And traditionally, we have the rights to, if we just only know how to access it. And these guys did their homework, and they really know what they're doing. And you know what? They're winning. And what did they do? They brought in other Kanaka Maoli to try and take them out. Other Kanaka Maoli who are struggling with the same challenges, who love the Aina, who love their community, who want to get the land back, who want to get independence back. They brought them in. Tyler Green, the developer, brought in a Kanaka Maoli hui. Hard, painful to watch that. Breaks your heart when you see your own people putting down our own people who are fighting for survival, for all of us to lay claim back to our lands and to bring them back home. For all of our people, they are literally calling out every single descendant. The Wailua Kane are calling out to every single descendant, if you are interested in laying claim to these lands, that you can come and join in. And here you have a supposed chief pulled in by a haole developer, and then calling our Kanaka racist for identifying the fact that he is siding with the oppressor. How painfully tragic and sad that is. And it hurts your heart. Yeah, right. I Pole Christy. Court tomorrow's at 8:30 in Lehui, Kauai, if anyone can come and support. But the problem is, this isn't an isolated incident. When Queen Liliuokalani was imprisoned, there were Hawaiians sitting on the steps of the court of Iolani Palace who welcomed those usurpers. There were a few Kanaka who are there. You know, every arrest that we have that take away our people in handcuffs. Franz Fanon identified these people as a comprador class. It's a necessary fact of colonization and occupation. If it was all them versus us, they'd never be able to defeat us. They'd never be able to take us out. But what they need to do is they have to create and empower a few people and put them in charge and put them in power to put the rest of us down. So I really would encourage everybody, all you Kanaka out there, if you want to look and see and be really critical about what's happening, when your heart feels like it's breaking, I want you to know it's a scientific art of destruction, division, and oppression. Hasn't just come here in Hawaii. It's been used all over the world. It's the same pattern. And if we can learn that pattern, maybe we can learn to fight it. And even if our hearts are breaking in our chest to see our own people that we think are like people that we think are hard moving, people that we think who are going to come and stand by us side by side, shoulder to shoulder, to see them come and to try and take away our people, intimidate our people, and to stand side by side with the oppressor, we won't be surprised. And we'll know how to deal with it. The comprador class. That is what they're called. They are a native elite that negotiates, works with, and facilitates economic and political oppression. That's the only way that these types of things can happen. And if we are prepared for it and we realize it's going to happen, we can protect ourselves from that. So how do we protect ourselves from that very action? How do we protect ourselves from not becoming the people who are collaborating with the enemy? And I say the first thing that you need to do is you have to never think that you are not the person who is the comprador class. You must think that must never think that you can't sell out. You must never think that you won't be seduced, because what do? They seduce you by giving you what they love, what you love. They seduce you by trying to uplift, what is your fight? Oh, you want to protect Kalo, you want to protect Olelo, you want to teach school children. Here, you know what? I'm going to give you money. I'm going to give you resources. I'm going to give you power. I'm going to give you respect. I'm going to give you validation. I'm going to give all of these gifts to you, all these things that the oppressor class rarely gives us. And they make us feel good, and they make us feel wonderful, and they make us think that we can somehow, through our own personal rise, our own personal improvement and betterment, that our whole people will rise. And they tell us that we have to be realistic, that you have to be practical, and that the people who are opposed to destruction of our planet and our communities and our resources, they're just being divisive. If you never forget that you can be co-opted at any one point, that nobody is immune, you have a chance of not being a comprador. If you fight it with all your might, if you always, when there's a choice between power and walking with the people, you choose to walk with the people. Always choose to walk with the people. And if you think that fundamentally changing the system that we're looking at, fundamentally dismantling system of oppression, if you think that's going to be easy, if you think you're going to get rich off that, no, aole. They don't pay you to dismantle the system. They don't reward you for that. You have taken a vow of poverty. You've taken the pathway that's difficult. Because not only do you have to build for a new future, you also have to survive the current oppression. That's the reality. It's going to be hard. It's going to be massive sacrifices. And it's going to be very, very difficult. And even then, there is no guarantee that you are not going to become the comprador class. Even then, you can be wooed. Even then, through vanity, ego, self-deception, and thinking that you are smarter than everybody else. That's how you're going to get seduced in. So what's another thing that you can do? You can divide and spread out the power as evenly as possible. Educate and uplift as many people around you as possible. If you ever find yourself to be in a position to making lone decisions, so that you don't, decisions that are not dependent upon the rights and the voices of the people, decisions that are not intertwined with listening to the earth, and how much we have to pay attention to the earth and our communities, because our people and our lands are one. It was the colonizer and the occupier who separated aina. That which sustains all of us. So if you start making fancy wheeling dealing political maneuvers and shenanigans without the consent of your people, then you become a part of the comprador class. And I love all of our people. I love even the ones who do this, because nobody wants to believe that they're the evil one. Nobody wants to believe that they're the bad guy, right? A lot of them think that they're doing the best for all of us. But if you look, cocoa palms, today, that was a very, very bad thing. And the only way I don't let it break my heart is because I look at our young men and our young women who are on that front line, who held themselves with dignity and pride. They're brothers, man. They wanted to throw down, crack down, slam down, take them out, you know. They come from the country. They're real. They're kalamaokaaina. But you know what? They knew the aina that they're from. They remained in discipline. They continued to have that ability to kuka. They never lost their business. They pulled out their their weapons of mass education, their kelaponas, and educated everybody. Even though in a really bizarre, very weird way, everybody's phone shut down. And for some reason, I was able to go and tap into it and get some interviews. But I'm so proud of you, and this is where my hope always lie. Hope always be eternal in my breast, because I see you, Kiai. I see you, Alaina, and I love you very deeply. The time is coming. This planet is burning up. All of you compradors, all those who would sell out the earth, sell out the land, sell out the people. For what? Papahanaumoku is coming to teach her children a lesson. And we either have to care for her or we don't. Because a time of reckoning is coming. Yeah? So survive the present and prepare for the future. And if you're able to get to Lihue tomorrow on Kauai at 8:30 a.m., kako or alohaina. Because they're in a big fight. Big one. And they need every one of your hearts and your prayers to win. Alohaina malamapono. Yo lahui o Hawaii. Malamapono.